Hello and welcome to the channel. We're back to normal, giving a watch away to someone who makes a comment in the comments section. I am going to stick one last time to NH35 movements just because there's a lot of newish viewers who've tuned into the sort of tutorial session on how to make a watch with an NH35 movement. So I'm trying to keep things familiar for them, but this is the watch that I eventually build, and yes, as usual, I'll be giving it away. So we start with the usual approach, which is assemble the movement and the dial and case and things, and we move the date wheel on the movement to the point where it just clicks over onto the next date. That tells us that the hands, where we're able to see them, would be on midnight, and that's the starting point for setting the hands on the dial. So I've just done that, and the next stage is to add the dial. This dial is made for an NH35 movement, so there's no feet to cut off, so that's pretty straightforward, and I've just basically pushed it straight onto the movement here. So now I'm taking a bit of Rodico, the sort of watchmaker's putty, and I'm putting it on the dial, and the idea is to sort of press it gently into the midnight position, and then more firmly using a more sophisticated kit. Now I've pushed this on and it's not willing to move. I've pushed it on to a point where it's more or less set, and as you can see, it's not pointing exactly at midnight. It's a few minutes off, so I'm not happy with that, so I have to start again, I'm afraid. So I put a little bit of plastic sheeting down to protect the dial, and use this sort of hand removal lever just to get the hour hand off. So now I'm having another go, and I'm just trying to maneuver the hand into exactly the 12 o'clock position with this Rodico stuff. That's about right there. Just got a little piece of wood there to make sure I don't scratch anything, and I've pushed it down, and that's at midnight. I'm happy with that. Now I use a machine to hand press, as opposed to hand pressing the dial, the hands onto the dial. You don't have to. You can just use a hand press if you want to, but this way I know it goes on pretty straight. Just move the machine to the right gauge to cover the hole in the hour hand, and then press down. And that was very easy. That one went straight on. So now I've set the hour hand to 6 o'clock, and the minute hand will be on 12 o'clock, and that makes a nice straight line. Sometimes I use 9 o'clock for the hour hand to make a nice sort of right angle, but basically if you get those two exactly in sync, then they'll come together at midnight quite nicely. I'm using a 1.1mm gauge to press down on the minute hand. I've got it sort of gently in position, and it's half a minute out, but that's close enough. It's the hour hand that has to be pretty accurate. And so now I can get ready to use the machine press for the minute hand. It's pressed down relatively easily, so that's good. now just to test it to make sure that nothing's fouling on another hand, and that one is fouling on another hand, so I'll have to just make a little bit of an amendment here. So I've pushed it down slightly too far down on the pinion, so I'm just, before I go any further, I'm just going to try and gently maneuver that minute hand just a millimetre or two so that it clears the hour hand. So the way to do that is to take a sheet of plastic of some sort. I'm using a little dial protector plastic here, and I'll just slide it under the minute hand and just gently pull up a little bit. If you pull too hard, it'll come right off and you have to start again. So try not to overdo it if this happens to you. But obviously the whole thing won't work if the minute hand is fouling on the hour hand. It'll just stop when it gets to the hour hand. That's done just enough to clear it, as you can see. Probably go for a little bit more now though, just to make sure it's comfortably across. I want enough clearance for it not to be a problem in the future. So I did that, and I'm happy with it now, so it's now time to move on to the second hand. Get the movement and dial up to eye level, and again use a little bit of roller curve to position the second hand, and then push down. So that's the second hand done. So now moving on to release the stem. That's out, and now I can put the dial in the case. Now this is a 31mm dial, so I bought a case that would match a 31mm dial. And in this one, it's basically a sort of Tudor style case. Just taking the back off there with the rubber ball. That plastic thing that fell out, the white plastic, that's the spacer. I bought this case, it had to take a 31mm dial and an NH35 movement, and that little bit of white plastic is designed to keep the movement from moving about inside the case. The movement's quite a bit smaller than the dial, of course. Just give the case a wipe, and we will be sliding the case over the dial and movement with the space for the stem at 3 o'clock exactly in the right position to allow the reinsertion of the stem. The spacer needs just a little bit of pushing down just to make sure everything is being held firmly in place. It's just not quite working over on that far side there, so I'm just pushing it down with a little tool just to make sure it's nice and secure. So the movement comes with a separate stem, and I've attached the crown to the stem, and now I'm inserting it to see how much is sticking out, how much it is too long by. And it's about 4 and a bit millimeters when I measure it. This particular crown is spring-loaded. So I'm interested in the gap between the inner ridge of the crown and the outside of the bezel. Not the bezel, sorry, the case. Obviously, you don't want a gap in there. That'll make it vulnerable to water ingress. Just putting a little bit of grease on the rubber gasket. That's another thing that will help sort of seal the back of the case and stop water getting inside. Now it's just a case of screwing the case on. So this has been a relatively easy, straightforward one. Now I'm gonna put a NATO strap on this watch. And you'll see what I mean by that. It just goes through the top in a sort of loop. They're very, very easy to swap over and change, and it can bring a completely different look to the watch when you change them. So I've gone with red here, but of course you could have black with a red stripe running through it or something like that to tie it all in together. But this particular one's red. And that's pretty much it. There's the watch. So I'll leave you with a few shots of the watch. Thanks very much everybody for watching. I've tried to make this a pretty short video, so short enough to be not in two parts, you know, like a part one and a part two. Do subscribe and do make a comment below. Someone who makes a comment will be sent the watch. If I reply to one of your comments and say, do you want the watch, just send me your address through by email, and I'll get the watch to you. The email address, of course, is hoursofendlessfun@mail.com. Okay, that's it. Thanks very much for watching, everybody.